It's Friday. You know what that means.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 348 of everyone's favorite wrestling podcast, The F and Marks.
Yeah, I'm Jay. He is.
I am the 47th President of the United States.
Hey, you know what? You might be the best option.
All I'm going to say is that I've been campaigning for this since before 2020. I knew that this day was going to come where we're going to have a situation where neither candidate's going to want to debate the Brainless one.
Right. Hey, you know, I'm going to say that our current president might be not too far from taking over your moniker. If this special counsel report is to be believed.
Wrong. It's never going to happen. Nobody's taking the Brainless one moniker from me over my dead body. Wait, I can't be saying that.
Yeah.
But we got a bunch of wrestling to get into this week.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll be honest with you, Jay. I was putting together the notes. I don't remember. Maybe you do. I don't remember how long ago it was that I actually had more than one note about AEW.
Yeah.
I have AEW here. I have AEW there. I have another one for AEW. Hell, actually, half of my list is AEW this week, and I cannot believe I'm saying this.
Wow.
Not bad for somebody who watches all of 0 seconds of AEW every single week.
All right. I mean, you're talking about all these things AEW on your list. Why don't we start knocking some of them off?
That sounds like a tremendous idea. And the first thing I would like to talk about was what happened in that promo with Darby Allin and Sting with Nicholas and Matthew from Wednesday when the douchebags had the blood-drenched outfits from when they attacked Sting and Darby Allin last week, and they came out, and Darby Allin cut a promo and basically called out the Young Bucks for being EVPs of a wrestling promotion that is not really all elite wrestling. It's all friends wrestling. Because on the first episode of Dynamite, Darby Allin wasn't used at all. No, they used Brandon Cutler. And then he came out and said, none of the EVPs wanted me there. I only got hired because of a former EVP. Then the Cody chants came out. And then there was references to James E. Cornette, which I'm sure made every freaking AEW fan's head explode, especially the Bucks and Kenny and all them.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Darby Allin having the promo he had and then finding out that he kind of went in for business with him for himself, cutting this promo because nobody knew he was saying this?
Couple things. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Tim. Thanks for tuning in. You know, Darby Allin is not CM Punk, and it felt like Darby Allin tried to reach for his pipe bomb moment, and he just doesn't deliver it like that for me. But as Tim said in the chat, anybody who craps on the Young Bucks, you know, I think it immediately gets a thumbs up. All that being said, hey, sometimes you gotta air the dirty laundry, right? And sometimes you gotta, you know, be truthful. Hey, who's the reason why I'm here? You know, when you think of the two pillars that are not pillars of salt in AEW, it's Darby Allin and it's MJF. Who brought both of them in?
Adrenaline in my soul. Cody Rhodes brought them into AEW to do it all to make the fans happy.
So MJF is taking time off and or signed with some other company possibly and or dealing with injuries. Either way, I mean, he was the standard bearer for AEW for the better part of the year. He main evented their biggest show ever. And you got Darby Allin, who, has been paired with Sting ever since Sting reemerged from his retirement. You can't get any bigger of like a person to put him with.
No.
And I'm happy that Darby tried something and did something. Honestly, I hope he kind of pissed people off.
I do too.
Hold on. Yeah?
Yeah? Wait. Yeah?
Yes. Doug said yeah, and because...
Oh, of course, we have to Doug when Doug says yeah. Yeah?
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 And he said, Eli hates seeing Giants gear.
I'm sorry to hear that for future Hall of Famer Elijah Manning.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I should probably not bust out my cup too. The cup that magically matches my hat for some weird reason.
Weird.
Unplanned too, by the way.
But I'm wondering if I don't think this is going to put Darby Allin in CM Punk territory because he's been in that locker room for all these years. So, but every once in a while you need something like that to hopefully stir some crap up. Maybe it'll help get him to the next level, at least with the audience, what audience there is. So
it's not at the live
good for him.
Audience. I actually am glad that he did it because it needed to be said. Because there's been a lot of misinformation going out because you hear from one set of party that the locker room is incredible, then you hear from another group of individuals that the locker room is still kind of hostile and everything like that. Like CM Punk was not really the issue. There's other issues. And
Sure.
and like you mentioned with the pillars. I'm actually glad it was somebody like Darby Allin that got that chance to say something like that. Because look at the other pillars. Yes, MJF was world champion. MJF deserved to be world champion. MJF had a pretty solid run as world champion. He's out. He's injured or possibly WWE bound, possibly Japan bound. We don't know. I appreciate the fact that he is kind of, sticking to the old school mentality. Like, all right, we don't know where he's going. He's keeping his mouth shut.
Right.
So we have no idea what's going to happen with him. And then you look at the other pillars. And you look at freaking Jungle Jerk Off. What has he done? He should have at New Japan, ripped up his contract. Yeah, nobody cares. But you did mention the pillars, and there was a fourth pillar. His name is Sammy Guevara. And he also is going to be mentioned today.
Oh, yeah.
But to kind of go and put the whole Darby Allin thing with the Bucks, I don't want to see this. I've mentioned this before. I was in my top 10. I'm pretty sure it was my top 10 list of what I don't want to see or would rather see than the Bucks win the tag team titles from Sting and Darby Allin. I don't need to see this, but I am kind of glad that Darby said something because it does look hell of a lot like this is the All Elite Friends wrestling promotion.
Right.
Because it's just ridiculous. But since we did mention Sammy Guevara, tonight on Rampage, when it happened on Wednesday, he went to do, I don't even remember what the name of the move is called.
I think he was trying to shooting star press.
It might have, I think you're right. I think it was a shooting star press. And he went to deliver it to Jeff Hardy, and he miscalculated and landed on Jeff Hardy's face with his legs.
Thankfully, the word coming out is Hardy suffered a broken nose, no concussion, but that looked really nasty. Anytime you take a knee to the face, and I mean, he was just laying there. This is now the third time Sammy Guevara has injured a Hardy.
He's halfway through the family.
Right.
He's a year or two away from taking out Maximus.
Yes.
If he's still employed by AEW. And it's funny that you did mention that he took out other Hardys because Matt Hardy, you didn't see this on because obviously they're not going to show it on TV, but Matt was pissed. Came out through the back, stormed through, blow through security to get his way to the ring. And then after the match, he got in there and he told Sammy off, gave him the finger. They both kind of told him off before they got out. And Matt Hardy looked hot. Man, he was pissed. And frankly, I don't blame him. But at the same time, it's time for you guys to kind of, ride off into the sunset, Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, they're not even what they were when they reemerged at WrestleMania a handful of years ago. Yep. They're not even that anymore. All that being said, it doesn't appear that Sammy Guevara injures other people. He injures Hardys. When I saw him do, like a swanton from the top of the, scaffolding, Titantron, Jumbotron, whatever, in Norfolk, he didn't end up injuring, who the heck did he, I think he fell on Starks. He didn't end up injuring Starks. How do you jump from triple the height and not injure the person, but then you do this move that you've probably done a million times and you knee the dude in the face? If I were one of the Hardys, I'd probably be like, maybe this feels like it's on purpose. It keeps on happening to us, not anybody else. But it also feeds into possibly, I don't know if you saw what Aaron Stevens said in an interview this week, but more or less he said many of the people coming up today are barely trained. You could do all the flips you want, but, if you're hurting people, you're not doing it right. That's one of the things Bret Hart always goes bonkers about.
Goldberg!
Yeah. But if you could do these incredible feats of athleticism in gymnastics, but you're hurting people, you're not doing it right. Or if you keep on injuring the same people or hurting the same people, you're not doing it right.
I still remember when he blasted Matt Hardy in the face with the chair when he threw it at him. That I would have freaking scrambled his eggs after that. Jesus Christ. That was not good. I did not like that.
Yeah.
But
Tim saying in the chat, the Hardy are physically beat up. It's like watching Mick Foley now. And Mike Rainey saying, Hardy Boys were just a nostalgia act at WrestleMania. Ever since then, they haven't really been used. I would say with the Hardys, even after that, Jeff had that, at least to me, it was a really memorable Hell in a Cell match with Randy Orton. And I know Jeff was hoping and praying that he would get WrestleMania main event at some point, but his time for WrestleMania main event was 2009, but he chose drugs. So,
yeah.
So that's what happens with that. But yeah, the Hardys are physically beat up. And talking about watching Mick Foley, Mick Foley, if he is intent on having one more hardcore death match for his 60th birthday, one person has come out and raised his hand to be that final opponent. Did you see who it was, Brainless one?
Abdullah the Butcher.
There's my partner.
Braun Strowman? There's my partner.
No. Tim will understand what I was just saying about where's my partner.
Okay.
It was during a Battle Bowl many years ago when he was Cactus Jack, and he and Abdullah were actually having kind of issues. and they were doing the lethal lottery. And he's like, where's my partner?
I vaguely
Where's
remember
my
that.
partner? And then all of a sudden, Abdullah was called, and he's like, there's my partner. That Tim's the only one who got that. So anyway,
No, I didn't see it, but my first thought would be Abdullah the Butcher. If it's not Abdullah the Butcher,
not
I'm gonna.
Abdullah the Butcher.
All
Think
right,
of an ECW person and 420.
the Sandman, Sabu. Are you wait? Are you talking about the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam?
Yes.
Okay.
He said specifically, Mick and I have never had a one-on-one match. The one time that it was supposed to happen, I think it was supposed to be in TNA, and something happened where it didn't occur. And he was like, it's the match I've never gotten, and I would love to have it just once.
You know what? I changed my tune from last week. I'm now off of I don't want to see Mick Foley have one more death match to I want to see Mick Foley fight Rob Van Dam on for his 60th birthday. Yes. That is it's him, AJ Styles, and that's about it. That's the only two people I would actually, want to see Mick Foley in the ring with because I know they're the two that will probably take care of him the best.
As far as Foley goes, he said specifically he couldn't even get himself in Rumble shape. He needed to lose 75 pounds just to do that. I mean, his body's already taken plenty of punishment. Would this match would definitely be one of those ones where like he's got to take, chairs to the back, thumbtacks, all the gimmicky stuff you can think of to entertain people. But please, for the love of God, no headshots. Quite honestly, I'd rather not see it. But if Ric Flair was able and allowed to do what he did a year and a half ago, as long as Mick and his family feel he will be okay, I'm not going to watch it, but live and let live, dude.
If he fights RVD, that's the only way I'm going to watch it. That would be the only way I'd want to watch it is if he fought RVD. Because let's be honest too, because RVD has been running, he's been in the wrestling industry for close to 30 years, if not 30 years at this point. He can't take the bumps like he used to. He's not the same Rob Van Dam. So people expecting, Mick Foley to go up against ECW RVD, and I'm talking about ECW RVD, not
ECW RVD,
not ECWWE RVD, the one that got popped right after winning the ECW championship at One Night Stand from John Cena, the same night that I was convinced that Terry Funk was going to die in the ring. But we're getting 2024 RVD, and yes, RVD at his age, for as long as he's been in the industry for, can still go. But let's be realistic. He's not the whole effing show anymore. I still adore him. Don't get me wrong. I still adore Rob Van Dam. One of my personal favorites. I love that dude. I really wish I had brought Weed with me to Webster, Mass. when I got to meet him at Top Rope. I think it was Top Rope or Big Time Promotions, whatever it was.
Big Time Wrestling.
Big Time Wrestling with, at that point and now, current FM Marks Hall of Famer Sean O was the ring announcer.
Yes.
And I have been to multiple independent wrestling shows. In fact, one of the independent wrestling shows that Cousin Jay and I went to, we got two separate ring announcers. And of all the guys that I dealt with, Mr. Tony Romo Jersey, body odor guy, the forgetful man from Northeast Wrestling, and the GOAT himself, Sean O was leaps and bounds. And I'm not saying this to pander to him. You know this, Cousin Jay.
Yeah.
He was leaps and bounds above all of them, including Smelly B.O. ring announcer from Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling.
I remember going into the storage locker for those shows. I'm all about like going to different venues and different places to really like soak it in, man. and smelly ring announcer. I did not want to soak that in.
Or kitty litter guy.
But dang it, those shows were entertaining until they turned the whole crowd on us.
All 27 people.
All 27 people, including Kitty Litter Man.
Now, and I'll be honest with you. I know that you weren't fearing for your life because you could have taken all 27 people by yourself, Cousin Jay. I've once witnessed you lift an entire 3-seat couch with the fold out in it with one arm over your head. And you say, "Here, I'll get the door for you." Yeah, so I'm convinced you would have taken the whole crowd. I would have got my ass kicked by Kitty Litter Guy's daughter. So let's be serious. And she heckled us too.
Brown in the chat saying one dream match he has is for RVD to go against Darby Allin.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get that. And speaking of RVD and all them, RVD has been announced for a future episode. I think it was Rampage or Collision or whatever it was in the month of April. They're booking this man out 2 months in advance. They don't know his opponent, but I can guarantee you that Rob Van Dam is going to wrestle on 420.
Do you believe that Tony Khan will be dumb enough to sign Matt Riddle to have a match between RVD and Matt Riddle on 420?
Is it a one-off deal, or is this like they have to sign Matt Riddle to a long-term extension, or could it be like when Matt Cardona was there and wrestled like 6 times?
I think at this point, if Tony Khan is not coked up, he'll sign him to a one-off.
Oh, so you're saying that there's an 87%, there's a 143 and 1/3 chance that we could get Matt Riddle signed to AEW for 5 years.
Yeah.
Or was it 141 and 2? How did I screw this up? I screwed it
141 and 2/3 chance.
It was 141 and 2/3. I don't know why I second guessed myself when I said 143. Oh, my Steiner math isn't as good as Braun Breaker's or his intelligent uncle.
Right.
Because the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice.
So Chris Brown is bringing up in the chat that Matt Riddle might be signing with TNA. I've seen that rumor. Based on what has happened in the last week and a half, it feels less likely. Unless Matt Riddle is taking like a hometown discount, even though it's not a hometown discount because he's not the hometown dude in TNA. Unless nobody else is calling him, which is quite possible.
Except for his dealer.
I just don't see it. I mean, literally, Scott D'Amore was let go because he wanted more money for the roster for the company. They didn't want to spend it. We're talking about the man that resurrected this from the Dixie Carter dead. And they fired him. And, oh, by the way, many of the TNA talent signed a joint letter that went to Anthem. I thought it was a really well-worded letter where more or less they're like, hey, look, we understand this company would not exist today without the great leadership and everything that Anthem did and has done for the company over the past handful of years since they bought it from the Carter family, since they bought TNA. But at the same time, they're like, we love this, we appreciate this, but the man that has the creative mind that has really brought us back from the brink is Scott D'Amore. And you've gotten rid of that. And I don't know if this is a slight on Tommy Dreamer, who allegedly is now the head of creative. But they're like, I mean, I guess they didn't hire somebody who was a pizza manager to run TNA. You know, at least the dude from Anthem has a little bit of experience in sports entertainment and just sports in general. But the talent, clearly, many of them are like, what in the ever blazing hell? I mean, they just went back to TNA wrestling, you know, as the brand. They just brought in Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth.
Do you see who else they signed? They don't have money for these free agents, but they go out and sign people like Top Dollar. They sign people like Simon Gotch. Simon Gotch, who happens to be the younger brother of Bobby Fish.
Yes.
Much younger brother of Bobby Fish.
I mean, his great-great-grandfather, Frank Gotch, was actually
Bobby Fish
trained by Bobby Fish.
It was Bobby Fish's first tag team partner.
Well, we don't know that. I mean,
you're right.
I'm wondering if Abraham Lincoln and Bobby Fish teamed up at some point.
No, if I know anything about Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, is that he didn't take kindly to losing to Bobby Fish. So I have no idea if he avenged the loss, but I know he would never work with somebody who beat him.
Fair point.
Just saying.
Another person who's almost as old as Bobby Fish, who, you know, kind of went out there and left and has come back, QT Marshall.
What?
QT Marshall, who wanted to spread his wings and become the wrestling superstar that he knew he was, found out, oh, wait.
Who the fuck are you? Okay, yeah. I'm telling you.
Wait, I need a job. Hey, Tony, okay. I'm sorry that I complained that you weren't giving me enough TV time with QTV or giving me enough factions because I had like 20 of them in my 4-year run.
The factory.
I'm sorry. Can I have my old job back? I don't need to show up on TV.
Somebody just needs to tell me that after he left AEW at the beginning of this year, which was not even 2 months ago, and said he was going to go and be the big star that he was, tell me he reached out to Cody. Cody set up a meeting with QT Marshall and Triple H, and when QT Marshall walked in, Triple H said, "Who the fuck are you?" That's all I want to. Wait, are you the guy who does those stupid QTV seconds? And QT was like, you know, I got to go back to AEW. Tony, I'm sorry. Tony, I tried. I'm not as big of a star as I thought I was because nobody knows who the fuck you are, QT Marshall. I thought you were just some regular, like, head of security when you first debuted in AEW. I had no idea who the fuck you were. And then you beat up Cody Rhodes, and I said, boy, I don't like this guy. And then I saw your face, and I said, God, I really just don't like this guy. He looks like an actual douche with hair.
Like the Bucks.
Well, the Bucks look like a bunch of other things, but I don't want us to get banned from Facebook. Or Twitter X. Or YouTube. Wait. You forget that I am El Hijo de El Diablo Blanco.
Yeah.
Remember that. I had to think about that for a second. That was probably more Spanish than I've ever said in my entire life.
So both Tim and Chris Brown are saying that Tommy Dreamer, Dave Meltzer kind of came out after they mentioned like Dreamer might be the head booker now in TNA, and they both refuted the report. It's like, you could refute the report all you want, but Dreamer was more or less the second in charge, and when you lose your head of creative, so who's the head of creative? Tommy Dreamer.
The question is, Tommy Dreamer, when you're sitting in your creative meetings and all the people in the creative group are throwing their ideas at you, Tommy Dreamer, are you the one that is the final say? Because if you are, that means you're the head of creative. But then again, I remember you were in ECW. You look like the dude who still lives in his parents' basement in your mid-40s, and you work nights as the cashier at Pizza Hut, Tommy Dreamer. You look like you smell like Suave cologne and body odor. You were probably the most forgettable person from ECW, and that says a lot because I remember Roadkill more than I remember you. And Tommy
What
Dreamer
about the Zombie?
That was a one-time thing, and the Zombie was more over than Tommy Dreamer. You can argue that with me all you want. The only person Tommy Dreamer was more over than was Nacho Libre.
Take it easy.
Just remember, Tommy Dreamer's come a long way from almost going into the ring during WrestleMania 17 in Houston and killing Paul Heyman live during WrestleMania 17. Thank God for Jim Ross calling him and telling him that they got something planned for him. And then my favorite was this week when I was watching ECW invade WWE's Raw in 2005. And they had Axel Rotten in the group. And it's bad enough when Balls Mahoney is coming out and he just looks like some random dude that you met on the street who's just screaming at the wall for no apparent reason. But when Balls Mahoney is not the most out of shape person in your group, that says a lot about you, Axel Rotten. You look like Axel Rotten. You know what the funny thing was? I couldn't tell if that was Axel Rotten or if Brian Knobbs ate Jerry Sags. Because that's what he looked like. He looked like Brian Knobbs after eating Jerry Sags. The Nasty Boys for the younger fans out there.
Yes.
A grossly, and I really do stress the grossly underrated tag team in wrestling history, the Nasty Boys.
You know, you were talking about being out of breath and out of shape. A certain former WWE announcer, the former Kevin Patrick, the current Kevin Regan, has a new job. I think he's actually very suited for this job.
Is he a spokesperson for a new drug to help battle asthma? Oh, wait, no. He feels so horribly as an announcer for WWE, so that means he's definitely TNA bound, right? He's doing it with the other guy?
He is heading to MLS.
They're going to have Kevin, Regan Patrick Regan Patrick is going to be doing MLS.
Yes, so him being out of breath will actually, I mean, it's going to feed right into everything that's going on in the game. Now, he's not going to be play-by-play. He's going to be doing, like, commentary. I believe MLS has, like, their app similar to MLB TV. I think he's going to be there, you know, helping break things down. So him being out of breath, I mean, it fits perfectly into the fact that some, you know, with soccer, you run and you run and you run, you don't stop. But when you do stop, you fall down. I think him being out of breath will really play directly into this. I want to see Kevin Patrick, a.k.a. Kevin Regan. I want to see him when we get the World Cup in the United States in a couple of years. I want to hear out of breath Kevin Regan on my TV because it is really going to take me as a fan there.
Pass by the ball by Michael Bradley. Josie Altidore just stole it. Yes, I know soccer players, by the way. I know people are probably shocked. Fun fact, my favorite soccer player of all time is Alexi, the Headhunter Lawless.
Yeah.
I was actually a fan of the Revs when he played for them too, by the way. But I have no soccer allegiance except for to the great country of Italy during the World Cup.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, since we're talking about the World Cup, this kind of is a good segue since we were on the AEW thing. Another thing that came out with AEW this week, they have a new partnership with CMLL in Mexico. They no longer have a deal with AAA. And apparently, as part of the deal, Tony Khan made it so that if there are any CMLL wrestlers on any show with AEW, that no AAA wrestlers are allowed to wrestle on said show. Which I'm if I'm not mistaken, I know Rush, whatever his name is, Rush, the band.
Yeah.
I think he's AAA. I know Andrade was AAA.
Well, I mean, Andrade is WWE now.
Oh yeah. Well, now when he was in AEW, he was also in AAA. It was before he returned, before he came home and realized that the grass was not greener on the other side.
Right.
But I found that very interesting that they put that kind of thing in there, especially because a lot of the Latino wrestlers that wrestle in Mexico are pissed off that Tony Khan made that into the deal with CMLL. What are your thoughts? I mean, is this kind of like a good thing? You had a deal with AAA and then you switch and you work with another promotion and now the promotion's like, no, I don't even care if you have guys under contract with AEW, if they're associated with AAA, you can't wrestle here?
The thing in general with Tony Khan and all this that's strange for me. Part of this deal is he wants them to show up at Forbidden Door 3. Because Forbidden Door has been mostly New Japan and AEW. Getting these matches that we wouldn't normally see. And adding another ingredient to it, which is good. And anytime, I guess you're trying to build a promotion, as Tony is, you're gonna make some allegiances, and you're going to piss off some people.
What are you talking about? Vince McMahon didn't piss anybody off when he turned a territorial wrestling, entity into a worldwide conglomerate where he monopolized it or anything.
Right. Yeah, he didn't do anything like that at all.
He didn't screw over like Stu Hart or anything.
Vern Gagne.
Jerry. Oh no, I was going to say Jerry Jarrett, but he never screwed over Jerry Jarrett. Let's be serious. The only thing he ever did that screwed over Jerry Jarrett was booked his son the way he did.
His son was Intercontinental Champion.
His son was Intercontinental Champion, but I'm going to tell you right now, if he was the last outlaw, Jeff Jarrett, when he got to WWE, said that, I'm JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett. Cling. Great, we got the sign. We saw your shiny tooth. You look like a turd. Did not like that character. I hated Jeff Jarrett because of that. I actually have done a complete 180 on Jeff Jarrett. I don't hate him as much, especially because I found out that he has made how much money? Was it $30 we've established?
At least $30.
Has made $30 in this industry.
We can no longer say he was never a draw.
He drew $30.
At least.
At least. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say $42.50. But anyway, if he was actually
for that person that got the buy one get one half off.
Right, with the free cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But honestly, if he was the last outlaw like he keeps telling everybody he is, yeah, he probably would have been a lot cooler than the douchebag that he was in the 90s. The same douchebag who I had to watch at WrestleMania 11.
Ugh.
The third, if not the second worst, it's definitely the third worst WrestleMania of all time.
The same douchebag that I had to watch in Bristol Central High School's gym go against Owen Hart. Rip. Tim was there. But anyway.
Good shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know you actually saw Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart. That's news to me.
Yep. Yeah. 1994, Bristol Central.
Was he the? Hold
the
on.
main event was Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon in the ladder match. It was the lead up to WrestleMania 10.
Yep.
They were building that match. They were trying to perfect that match before it happened. I saw it. Tim saw it. Tommy saw it.
Whole bunch of F and Marks Hall of Famers.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Was he the Rocket? Or was he the King of Hearts?
At that point, I think he was still the Rocket.
Or was he the Nugget? I'm not a Nugget!
Trying to think, 1994, around that time, he would not have been the King of Hearts, but I think it was around, like, because that would have been the Royal Rumble in WrestleMania where he went against his brother.
Yep.
So it would have been right after Survivor Series. Like the match that Tim and I saw was like January.
Okay.
Right before WrestleMania.
Okay.
So
I did not know you.
And we got to see Doink the Clown versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a part where Bam Bam thought he got the pin, and the ref didn't count it. And F and Marks Hall of Famer Tim said, "Hey, that was 3." And what did Bam Bam do a millisecond later? Yeah, that was 3.
You heard him.
Both of them. Rip?
Yes. Question, was WrestleMania 10 when it was Bam Bam Bigelow and Luna Vachon versus Doink and Dink? Or was that 12?
Good question. I will have to check that out after.
Because I know at 11, Lawrence Taylor fought Bam Bam Bigelow in the main event because clearly Lawrence Taylor is a bigger draw in professional wrestling than Kevin Nash ever was.
True.
And Kevin Nash was the world heavyweight champion.
LT has main evented more WrestleManias than CM Punk.
And Jeff Hardy combined.
Yeah.
And Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, if Bruno Sammartino had wrestled around the golden era and now, as opposed to back in the olden days where he was main eventing Madison Square Garden every weekend, body slamming Haystacks Calhoun without tearing any ligaments in his back, he too would have main evented a WrestleMania. Let's be serious for 2 seconds.
Yes.
But yes, Lawrence Taylor has main evented more WrestleManias than CM Punk and Jeff Hardy combined. And hell, he's main evented more WrestleManias than Kevin Nash, too. Ooh.
You and I have main evented as many WrestleManias as CM Punk and Jeff Harvey.
And Kevin Nash.
Yes.
And Duke the Dumpster Droese.
True.
Oh! And I've been to just as many WrestleManias as Duke Droese.
Yeah?
Yeah. I also didn't get
one name that has gone through the Forbidden Door a couple times. Sounds like the Forbidden Door opened the door to the United States. It sounds like Okada will be All Elite soon. What do you say about that, Brainless One?
I don't have an opinion on that. As the future 47th president of the United States, I have no issues with Japan. My only issues are with China. But honest to goodness, I would have really liked to have seen Okada in WWE. I think that they would have presented him and built him strong. Honestly, Nakamura has looked really good as of late, ever since he got to retire the Great Muta, last January.
Yeah.
I know they tried their damn. I don't know what it is. You got to figure that this whole Triple H, the whole Vince McMahon shit kind of screwed a lot of things up. But it does seem like a lot of these people, the Deonna Purrazas, the Will Ospreys, the Kota Ibushi's, although Kota Ibushi's kind of, it's like when the Red Sox signed Brett Saberhagen.
Yeah, somebody who was an ace, but not anymore.
He's a broken down top star. And honestly, I really would have liked to have seen him in WWE. It's just a shame because now I'm not going to be able to watch Okada because I didn't watch him when he was in Japan. And the only thing that's worse in Japan is watching him in AEW. Just so he could sit there and have a match with Daniel Garcia. What is this?
He does not dance anywhere near as well as the Wonderkind.
Damn Skippy. In fact, that's going to be on a future top 10 list. Where is it? I'm going to write that down. The top 10 dancers who are better dancers than Daniel Garcia.
Yes.
Guess who's going to be number one? The dancing Dino Man.
I think part of the thing with Okada, he sees the landscape of WWE. One of the things we have talked about a lot in the last couple of months is the main event picture on the main roster is ridiculous right now. The best it's been in 20 plus years. You could put a whole bunch of people in and they feel like they belong. They plugged Nakamura in and he felt like he belonged for a bit. He's not on that level right now, but the thing that he had with Seth Rollins was great. I think Okada is like this American audience, one, in WWE isn't going to necessarily know me a lot. Trying to speak to them in a second language. There are some people that can overcome, like the GOAT Asuka. But that's a hurdle. He probably views in AEW that's not as much as of a hurdle. And he's more known to the AEW audience because of Forbidden Door, and the AEW audience, very loyal, very into that end of professional wrestling. The people who watch New Japan, I'm not going to say are anti-WWE, but they're more likely to watch AEW than they are WWE. So I think there's a bit of ego there of like, I would like to be the top of the card, and I don't see my space in WWE. I could see my space in AEW. And I think that's kind of what happened with Will Ospreay too.
See, I just think that he's going to get lost in the shuffle in AEW. Because seriously, like, what's the big storylines going on in AEW? I know I haven't been watching, but I have to keep track. I have to not sound completely brainless when I discuss AEW. That's why I have them on my list. I have no choice. I have to talk about this excrement of a frickin' wrestling promotion that employs douchebags that couldn't manage a frickin' Target as their EVPs. But you got to think about it, and it's like, okay, Okada, you could go to AEW. In about 6 weeks, let's see what you're doing.
All excrement wrestling.
What are you going to be doing in about 6 weeks? You're going to be wrestling on Rampage, a show that you're going to be wrestling on Wednesday that they're going to show on Friday that about 12 people are going to watch. And you're going to be going up against, I don't know, Cash Wheeler.
Wait. I would like to see that match.
Fair. But this is my point. Because in about 6 weeks, he's going to be going up against like Trent Beretta. And
QT
then,
Marshall.
in 2 weeks, he's going to be squashing QT Marshall. He's going to have a QTV segment. He's going to get hugged by Tony Khan a bunch of times. And in about 3 months, he's going to somehow end up in a match with Marco Stunt.
And then have a title match against Samoa Joe.
And then, but if he goes to WWE and he's worried about people not knowing who he is, everybody's going to know who he is. Hey, that's the guy that Braun Strowman didn't pick, and he chose Nicholas instead. If you go on, if we could actually go back, and I'm pretty sure we could go on Twitter and type in Okada and WrestleMania, how many tweets do you think they're going to be like he actually walked by Okada and picked the kid? Come on, man. And I can understand what you're saying with the main event scene. There's no such thing as having too much of a good thing. We're talking about this is how deep.
I agree. Just like when Adam Cole, baby, went to AEW and people were like, dude, there's more or less, there's not a spot for you. And he's like, everywhere I've gone, I've gotten over. And whatever your perception is, it doesn't matter. I'm Adam effing Cole, baby.
He just doesn't have the same appeal to him like he used to. When he was in NXT, he was and you can all argue with me all you want. Adam Cole is the biggest star. Adam Cole, baby, is the biggest star in NXT history, and you can argue with me all you want. You're just going to be wrong. When Adam Cole was in Ring of Honor, he was a huge star. When Adam Cole was in New Japan, he was a huge star. He is now in AEW. Yes, I know that he's been sidelined with a concussion and with the ankle injury that he suffered and everything like that. He's not as big of a deal as he was in NXT. And who would you say is a bigger star in NXT history?
Only because of post NXT would I say Drew McIntyre. As far as in NXT, it's Adam Cole.
Yeah, the biggest star in NXT's history. Not for what they did after their time in NXT. I'm talking about from the time they debuted to the time they left, one reason or another, getting called up or going to AEW or ended up with top dollar in the unemployment line. There was never a bigger star in NXT at their time than Adam Cole was in NXT. Not Finn Balor, not Tommaso Ciampa. I know Sean O is having cringe moments thinking about that. It's not, and I'm sorry, El Jefe, FMR's Hall of Famer, if you're listening, it wasn't Johnny Gargano either. If anything, the only person who would have a legitimate argument is the man who just won the tag team championships in NXT, Baron Corbin. I'm kidding. Braun Breaker might actually have the only argument of anybody who's a bigger star in NXT than Adam Cole, baby. And even then, I still think it's Adam Cole. He was the biggest name in the hottest faction. Jay, we went to the beer festival in Norfolk and people were screaming, Adam Cole, baby! Come on, man.
And they never did the beer fest again.
They never, and we never saw it again. I don't know. It was probably when those dudes were starting to beat the shit out of each other in the pouring rain, and we destroyed the ground.
That was epic.
That was top 5, one of my top 5 favorite days. It's definitely down here. I have to rethink a lot of all my days. If it's not my top 5 days all time, it's definitely my top 10 days. That was such a fun day.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. There was a lot of beer. And there was a lot of mud. Oh, shit. Well, I have only one more note about AEW, and then we can move on to the real promotion.
Yeah.
Apparently, take this for what it's worth. Apparently, AEW superstars Adam Edge and Eddie Kingston have been rubbing talent the wrong way. The source, Brandon Cutler. I just had to mention that just because he's a douchebag and he hangs out with douchebags who look like douchebags and have douchebag titles and douchebag mustaches and douchebag clothes and douchebag faces and all that stuff.
I mean, Eddie Kingston rubs everybody the wrong way.
That's why I fucking love the dude.
Right.
He's going to be in my cabinet, by the way.
Well, and I'm sure Edge will be your, like...
ambassador to Canada?
Ambassador to Canada.
That's exactly what Adam Edge is going to be doing. Actually, no, it's going to be Bret Hart. Oh, wait, does it have to be?
With Adam Edge, it's like almost everybody says that he is amongst the most amicable people. He's easy to work with. And the fact that he's quote-unquote rubbing people the wrong way, again, kind of goes to like immaturity level on the folks that are all elite.
You mean the Bucks that yucks? Or the Bucks that yuck?
Something like that.
I screwed that joke up. Nah.
But all that being said, he could rub people the wrong way all he wants at this point.
He definitely rubs Beth Phoenix the wrong way. Ah! Hide your wives, Adam Edge.
I still enjoy the hell out of him and Christian doing their thing.
Go fuck yourself.
Yes. Catchphrase of the year.
Top 5 favorite wrestling moments of all time. It was
Hogan slamming the Giant.
Yep.
Tearing all the ligaments in his back.
And getting killing the Giant 9 days later.
Yes.
That was numero uno, yes. Number 2, Party's Over, Grandpa.
Okay.
I know.
I know. 3, Bash at the Beach.
What, Hogan leg dropping Randy Savage?
Macho Man multiple times.
No, that's not even in my top 5 because number 3.
Curtis Axel?
Yeah, it has to be Curtis Axel. Curtis Axel not entering the 2015 Royal Rumble technically it should be number 1. Then it should be followed by Hogan. Then it's got to be followed by Party's Over, Grandpa. Then it's the bedpan. The shot Vince, the perfect. They got the perfect sound on that, and that just all of that with Vincent in Austin back in the Attitude Era was just. It was must-watch TV. I was glued every single. They could have had Raw for 3 hours during the Attitude Era, and I would have enjoyed every second of those 3 hours, and I would have watched all 3 hours every Monday. But now they give us bullshit where there's nothing but freaking endless promos and all that stuff. Unless it was 3 hours of Russo's Raw, then no, I don't think I could subject myself to 3 hours of Russo's Raw.
Yeah?
I would probably have a seizure from all the cutaways. Kevin Dunn.
Ugh.
But
so is R-Truth in that mix?
Geez, I have to really think about it. So it was Hogan slamming the Giant, and it was Party Over, Grandpa. Then it was Curtis Axel getting knocked out by Redbeard at the Royal Rumble 2015. Then it was oh shit, I just said it too. Now I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be the Gronk spike. Braun Strowman Gronk spiking. James Ellsworth is definitely number 4. Oh, no, it was the bedpan was number 4, and then Ellsworth getting his Gronk spike was number 5. There you go.
Okay.
Honorable mention was when Booker T and Steve Austin beat the shit out of each other in the grocery store. Two guys in my top 10 favorite wrestlers all time. One of my just Austin with the milk, drinking it. Cheers. But anything with Austin was just I could watch Austin stuff for hours. It was just that good of stuff back in the day.
It's such good shit.
Such good shit. And now that I'm done talking about AEW, and yes, I agree. I love Adam Edge and everything him and Christian have been doing. And yes, Eddie Kingston rubs everybody the wrong way, which is why Eddie Kingston was, and always will be my spirit animal.
Yeah.
He is my champion. The world's cold. Better bundle up. But anyway, now that we're done talking about that secondary promotion, I can go throw up 3 times in the bathroom, and then we can talk about a real wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
But one of the things you did mention about WWE was in the notes was, has Drew McIntyre re-signed with WWE?
Survey says now, no.
And you can't get any better of a source about whether he is re-signed or not than the man himself, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. So McIntyre, dealt with injuries for a bit, and also beyond that, seemed like he took some time to either heal his brain, or WWE took their sweet ass time bringing him back. Definitely last year, it seemed like they needed to have a few moments to be able to exhale, because it definitely felt like there was some bad energy between them. At this point, it doesn't seem like bad juju between them. But Drew McIntyre has been promoted and advertised for a show in May in Bologna, Italy, after WrestleMania, when many people believed that his contract was up. It sounds like at this moment that this is added on time from injury and other things. All that being said, the bits I heard sound certainly pretty positive between the discussions between Drew and the company. I think a lot of the bad juju from last year, I think Drew wanted to get a deal done, not realizing, oh, by the way, we can't get a deal done because we're trying to sell the company. We can't do this deal until after the company's sold. And now that WWE has the new deal with Netflix, has the deal with the CW network, has the new deal with USA Network, they could get down to brass tacks with a guy like Drew McIntyre, who is a very good soldier, who is well liked, who still deserves his championship moment in front of a damn crowd.
I agree.
Drew McIntyre not officially re-signed, but I see it happening, and I see that at some point he will have his moment, because again, we're dealing with like a field of performers in WWE like we haven't seen in a couple of decades, as far as being main event level and people legit like, yeah, I can see that. And him possibly next week getting his opportunity to have a shot at the heavyweight championship again against Seth Franklin Rollins at WrestleMania.
It's going to be
I think they do that to help kind of grease the gears, prime the wheels. I would not put it beyond WWE to put the title on Drew McIntyre.
It wouldn't surprise me either. And there's anybody who's deserving, it's Drew. And the fans are loving Drew. Because not only do they want Cody, they want Drew. And they've made it abundantly clear that that's who they want. And if Drew wins the Elimination Chamber, it wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, I don't remember all the people in it. I don't know if all the people are in it yet. Because I know they might have qualifying matches tonight on Smackdown. Because I know that they have one, and speaking of which, they were supposed to have a women's qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. And bad luck for one wrestler, but good luck to the fans who are going to be watching Elimination Chamber at 4 a.m. next week in Australia. Shotzi Blackheart blew out her knee on NXT, fighting for the NXT Women's Championship. So she will be unable to compete in her qualifying match tonight against Tiffany Stratton, and was replaced by Alba Fire. Which is good, because I know that in Elimination Chamber, they don't put chairs in the match, so we don't have to watch her swing a chair, so I have to cringe and cry. after for 35 years of being a wrestling fan because Shotzi Blackheart can't swing a chair. My dog swings a steel chair better than she does, and my dog lacks the opposable thumbs. But it's unfortunate. I really do think Tiffany Stratton was going to win this anyway. I'm curious to see how the rest of the card turns out for next week's Elimination Chamber. I'm curious who's going to be in it. Do we finally see Logan Paul getting involved and costing L.A. Knight? Yeah. Setting up for them for the U.S. title at WrestleMania, which is what I want.
Yes.
But if L.A. Knight wins the Elimination Chamber next week, I'm going to do 27 backflips if I could.
It certainly feels like the cards are in the favor of Drew McIntyre going forward. They had Bronson Reed this week in a qualifying match. He ended up losing
to the Almighty.
It feels like they're going to figure out a way to get Bronson Reed on the card some way, shape, or form. You're going to Australia. Let the man have his time in the sun, and I'm pretty sure Triple H will.
I got the perfect opponent for him then.
Yeah?
Who would be the perfect wrestler to get over a heel in his hometown? I'll give you a hint. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how hard you try, Tony Khan found that out the hard way. You cannot hinder this man.
The gender. You cannot.
Jinder Mahal versus Bronson Reed would be. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. to watch that match.
In a Punjabi.
Oh, stop! Please don't.
We all know that's not going to happen. I made it happen once.
It's going to happen again, Jay. I have hope. As long as we have the Jinder and Veer is coming, we have a very good possibility, especially because they're doing all of these shows in different countries.
If John Cena goes against Jinder Mahal in India.
Oh, it's Punjabi prison.
It should be Punjabi prison.
You got only a couple more years left because I know Cena's going to retire by 50.
Right. Allegedly.
Allegedly. I mean, honestly, we could have Randy Orton back in the elimination, the Punjabi prison. I'm telling you, Jay, now that they've been doing a lot more of these international pay-per-views almost every month, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we're going to get a Punjabi prison match at some point in the future. I do not rule it out. We have a better chance of seeing that than the Dog Kennel from Hell match. Or a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
Well, I mean, Buff Bagwell is aged out of WWE at this point.
Nobody wants to see Buff Bagwell in WWE. They made that perfectly clear when he fought Booker T for the WWE or for the WCW World Championship.
Right.
In Spokane, Washington. No, don't do it in Atlanta, Georgia, where WCW was headquartered. No, we'll do it in Spokane, Washington.
Yeah. So we were talking about Elimination Chamber. One person who will not be there, at least at this point, Jade Cargill. She made a big splash at the Royal Rumble. It'd be cool if they put her on this show in Perth, Australia. At this point, it feels like they're going to have a women's battle royal, and she'll probably win it at WrestleMania. Or maybe they wait until the day after WrestleMania and challenges, whoever is the Raw Women's Champion at that point.
See, I honestly don't have an issue with her not being in Elimination Chamber. if you are dead set on, well, obviously you're dead set on the fact that it's going to be Bayley versus Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship on SmackDown, so that the women's elimination chamber is going to determine who the number one contender is. And obviously, because of the fact that you've been teasing the shit out of it, we're going to be getting Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania. So
allegedly, I mean, we do. You have to wait to see if Nia Jax returns from Australia with the Women's Raw Championship. Right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right?
Jay.
Right?
Cousin
right?
Jay.
Right. Right.
Wrong. The Jinder has a better chance of beating Bronson Reed than Nia Jax does of beating Rhea Ripley at Elimination Chamber. If, and I'm hoping for your sake, because I know where you're going to be on night one of WrestleMania. I am hoping for your sake that Rhea Ripley wins that match at Elimination Chamber.
I'm hoping too.
Because I will not watch WrestleMania if that fucking waste of a pile of shit is the Women's World Heavyweight Champion. I will not watch. I will want to go to bed earlier than I did when Roman Reigns fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania 32 or 33, whatever one it was. I think it was 33.
33.
When everybody else was asleep and I was the only one awake in the living room watching Roman Reigns spear The Undertaker and pin him.
Sad.
But then again, I would much rather watch Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker than watch Nia Jax at WrestleMania as the world champion.
Because Roman Reigns went against Triple H at WrestleMania 32.
Yes, he did. My first WrestleMania in Virginia.
Yeah?
Yeah? And many more.
So there was... I don't know if this person is going to actually challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. But at the end of I think it was Smackdown last week, there was a particular superstar that actually did lay out the Intercontinental Champion.
Woo!
He happens to be in the Spooky Pals.
Don't you dare say it.
R-Truth.
Okay, you can say that.
Ended up laying out Gunther and gave him the "you can't see me" that he learned from his childhood hero, John Cena.
John Cena is my friend. I never liked you, John Cena.
I want to see that match.
I want to see anything that R-Truth is in.
Badly.
I would watch if they had R-Truth call football games, I would watch the games that he was calling. If they had R-Truth calling baseball games, I would watch whatever games he was calling. If somebody was if he was painting a house white, I would watch him paint the house white. Because it would be the most entertaining thing, because that man was, and always will be a treasure. That man needs to be protected at all costs. I adore that man. I would love to see him as Intercontinental Champion. My favorite was I saw on Facebook earlier today, and they were like, the Tribal Truth ain't got shit on R-Truth, and it was all the championships that R-Truth won in WWE. So it's like, a couple of tag team titles, a couple of U.S. championships, and then there's 900 24/7 titles. He is the most decorated champion in WWE history, and you can't tell me otherwise. Nobody has won more championships. I don't care which one they are. He got cost. We were taking away the summer of R-Truth in 2011. He was supposed to be our WWE champion, and you all know it. That would have been the greatest WWE championship run of all time. R-Truth in 2011. Tell me otherwise.
Yeah?
But I do like the idea of him going after Gunther. I don't see it being, because I know that they kind of teased it on Monday because Jey Uso challenged Gunther, and I think they're having a match next week for the Intercontinental title. It can't be Jey Uso. I'm sorry. I love the Usos. They're on my Rushmore of tag teams. I adore them. They have done some of the best work just as much as Roman has over the last few years. I'm on board with main event Jey Uso, but I'm also on board with main event Jimmy Uso. They just work better as a tag team. It's just I don't know.
Well, I mean, WWE should not and will not trust Jimmy Uso with anything.
Oh no, I'm not saying that they. I mean, the tag team titles, yes, that's one thing. But I just, I don't know.
Jimmy Uso is a modern day Jeff Harvey, without it being hard drugs, at least that we know of.
Yeah, it's just alcohol
that we know of.
But I mean, hold on. Where's the wood? Hold on. He hasn't gotten into trouble lately.
That's good.
But my whole thing is that I just with Jey Uso, it just doesn't. I don't know. I like Jey Uso. I love him and the Usos. Again, they're one of my favorite tag teams of all time. I'm just not buying him as like a main event caliber guy.
But he's main event Jey Uso.
He is, and he's done incredible work, and I enjoy it. But he's not. There's nothing that really stands out with him other than he yells "Yee."
Yee.
Him and his brother were great as a tag team. I love them as a tag team. I'm just not sold on Jimmy and Jey as singles competitors. I'm sorry. It's probably just a comfort thing, and I just prefer them as a tag team because they're just a lot of fun to watch as a tag team. I could watch them in the New Day wrestle every day for an entire year straight and not get tired of it.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. If they really want to make a big moment and do something big with the Intercontinental Championship, Braun Breaker's got to be the one that takes the title from him. If that kid is your future, that's who you take the title off of Gunther. And then Gunther can go and wrestle.
At this moment, it doesn't look like it's any time in the near future with Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin winning the NXT Tag Team Championships.
Because we've never seen the tag team titles get dropped like a week later, right?
It doesn't feel like that.
Jay, you want to talk about a shocker? That's what that was on Tuesday. I was not expecting Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker to win the NXT Tag Team Championships right after Braun was on both Raw and SmackDown flirting with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis about joining the main roster. It just didn't make any sense. But again, I'm happy. I'm thrilled. I've enjoyed Baron Corbin's run at NXT. He's not bum-ass Corbin anymore. I don't care what anybody says. Him and Breaker won those titles. I thought it was a lot of fun. They won the tournament. I'm shocked because I thought that Breaker was going to be on the main roster and not the NXT Tag Team Champions.
Yeah.
2 in the pink and 1 in the stink.
That's called the shocker. All right. So they recently had the WrestleMania press conference hailing from Las Vegas. There are many rumors about that we will soon be hearing the announcement for WrestleMania 41 in which city it will be in. For a long time, the front runner sounded like it was Minneapolis.
Hey.
And I believe it was supposed to be the end of the road for Brock Lesnar. The end of the road looks like a brick building that just hit Brock Lesnar.
It was
or
a
Vince
shitty
McMahon.
That's because Brock got himself in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I think
it appears right now we're going to get an announcement that Las Vegas will be getting the next WrestleMania. We just had the Super Bowl there. Quite honestly, they just did the press conference for WrestleMania 40 there. They should have if it's going to be in Vegas, announced it right then and there.
I agree. Full-heartedly, I agree. I think that's going to be great because that building is amazing. Reliance Stadium is just incredible in Las Vegas. And I'm so glad because for so many years, and it's not even just professional wrestling because wrestling would go to Vegas and all that stuff. I mean, they held WrestleMania 9 in Vegas.
WrestleMania 9, baby. Giant Gonzalez versus The Undertaker.
Oh, God. Tatanka versus Shawn Michaels, the best match of the night, and it's not even close.
Hulk Hogan versus Yokozuna.
Yeah, Brett was pissed about that, too.
Hey, brother, I'll drop the title to you a few months down the line.
But, I mean, honestly...
Oh, by the way, brother, I'm leaving. And I'm going to drop it to Yokozuna.
But, like, for years, there was no sports franchises in Vegas. It never made any sense because Vegas was so popular and so vibrant and everything. And then they put a hockey team there, and the hockey team did really well, and the fans came out. So the Raiders moved there. Gave them a great stadium. Good for Vegas. They deserve this. This is, if WrestleMania 41 is their redemption for the fact that they got WrestleMania 9, so be it.
32 years later.
That's where you go and you give them a show they'll never forget so that you just dig El Gigante's body out from his grave and have him wrestle the Great Khali because it would be no different if he was still alive wrestling.
Right.
I'm glad you mentioned Brock Lesnar, though, Jay. It has come out that Brock Lesnar guy, the guy who used to show up to all the WWE shows wearing the Brock Lesnar shirt when Brock returned, he was the guy. Yeah! He did the Brock thing when he returned. Brock Lesnar guy. He's kind of having a epiphany because he has no idea what his personality will be much longer because he is dealing with a brand crisis. With everything that has come out with Brock Lesnar, he has no idea who he's going to support now because he needs somebody else because Brock Lesnar is no longer somebody he can support because Brock Lesnar is allegedly a scumbag. So I just had to mention that because I still remember him because he was the guy that I remember the most from when Brock Lesnar returned because he did the He was known as Brock Lesnar guy. Just like there was Sign Guy. Just like there was Frank the Clown. The Miz Girl. You know, eyes popping out of my head because Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar guy.
Bailey's buddy.
Oh, Izzy.
Not like the Izzy from the Red Sox who did the reverse crescent kick to the catcher before he charged the mound.
He super kicked him. He's a fan of the Hardy Boys, or the Hardy Boys, the Young Bucks.
That was pre-Young Bucks.
You don't know that. Fine, he's a Shawn Michaels fan.
Yes. Or a gentleman Chris Adams fan.
The originator of the super kick.
Yes.
Gentleman Chris. See, I knew that.
Not like Cousin Chris.
No, not like Cousin Chris A. Steele, who takes a bite out of crime.
Yeah.
I have one more note.
Okay.
The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to be on Smackdown tonight.
Clearly, they're going to be responding to what we heard on Monday.
And they're not scripted.
Good.
I don't care what anybody says. The Rock's on the TV. It's entertaining. I know he's taking spots from other people, but you know what? You had a spot open up in the main event scene when CM Punk got injured in the Royal Rumble. So if The Rock is the one that's replacing CM Punk, I understand maybe the next guy up. Come on. It's The Rock. There's nobody in professional wrestling right now, other than maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin, that can come in and make as much of an impact as The Rock does. And you know what? He's built for this story. We've been begging for The Rock and Roman Reigns to wrestle to determine who is the head of the table, the tribal chief. And now we got a different avenue. Now The Rock and Roman Reigns are together. And they're going after Cody Rhodes. I am so fully vested in this storyline now.
Yeah.
I am curious to see where it goes because at the end of the day, it's still The Rock. And The Rock is still one of the biggest draws in the history of professional wrestling. And everybody can be all upset about it and everything, but that's because AEW's biggest star that they could ever pull in sticks his fingers in dudes' buttholes.
Yeah.
Or the fact that their highest paid wrestler. Explain this one to me real quick, Cousin Jay. How the hell is Chris Jericho the highest paid wrestler in AEW?
It's very simple. The company as it is would not exist today if it weren't for Chris Jericho.
I'll give it that.
I'm not saying he's Hulk Hogan from the early mid 80s in WWF, but he was a big part of them getting credibility.
Oh, I agree. Double or nothing.
So, like, Tony Khan is paying him for services already rendered, and as much as there's some bad press out there about him now, if it's true, it's like, dude, go and retire forever. I don't want to see you. All that being said, he still goes out there and puts on a hell of a show. When we were in Norfolk, like watching AEW, that match he had where he and Sammy went against Starks and Big Bill, entertaining as all hell.
Massive.
They went to catering. Cassius Ohno had emptied the place out.
Oh, thank God for that. We can't have another situation where somebody throws a pie in somebody's face, Kevin Owens.
But, they were able to use the emptying catering pieces as weapons as part of that. And Jericho, again, if the allegations are true, go away forever.
Go away, Jericho.
And if it's false crap coming up about him, he's earned it. He's earned it from making AEW what it is today, as far as like getting money from television rights deals, being able to draw as big as they do now is in part because of Jericho.
He was the guy who brought the casual WWE fans over to AEW to check it out. Cody, yes, played a big role in that, but Jericho, he's as big of a star as Cody Rhodes is right now. In the grand scheme of things, he's not a bigger star than Chris Jericho over the life of their careers. Chris
Right.
Jericho has been able to accomplish what he has accomplished. He's wrestled everywhere and was successful. But it was that, and then them bringing in Jon Moxley was just the icing on the cake. Once they had those, basically it was those three. It was Cody, Jericho, and Jon Moxley, because nobody gave a shit about Kenny and the Bucks. It had to be the WWE guys to get the novice, the fans who were upset with WWE for all those years. That's how you had to get them in with those guys. You weren't going to get them with Kenny in the freaking super kick parade.
Kenny! Kenny in the box!
Dun, dun, dun. No, I'm not going to. Kenny! Oh my God, you keep Kenny. Oh my God.
But, one of the things specifically about WrestleMania, what they were planning all along is still a bit of, like, shrouded in secrecy. But it seems, I think, increasingly clear that they were hoping to do Roman versus The Rock this year, and the only way that was going to get called off was if The Rock said so. The Rock, since the tea leaves changing, and said, I cannot main event this show. Remember when a couple of Fridays ago, like, oh, this is selfish, blah, 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 blah. Rock is the one, if the sources are to be believed, is the one who said, it's okay if we do the audible hair. Cody deserves this. They allegedly changed the entire storyline which I think is a better storyline than if they had continued to go forward with The Rock and Roman. Not selfish. We're still going to get The Rock and Roman at some point.
Yes.
Just not this year.
Doesn't have to be this year. Cody needs to finish his story. I'm sorry. If Cody had not won the Rumble, I think they could have went that route with The Rock instead.
And if they knew The Rock was coming back and they wanted The Rock versus Roman, they should have had The Rock enter into the Rumble. Yeah. To get that opportunity.
I think once Punk went down with the tricep injury, that was it. They had to call the audible, and Cody had to win. Because you can't not have a Royal Rumble winner.
Right.
So it's just a shame. But I've been enjoying this. I was like, just let them cook, man. They know what they're doing. They've been around. This is the 40th WrestleMania. This isn't like their second Dynamite or their third Double or Nothing or something. No, this is their 40th WrestleMania. And yes, they've had a bunch of shit bombs over the years. WrestleMania 9, 11, 27, to name a few.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, WrestleMania, they've had a lot of great WrestleManias. Last year was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The one in Tampa that they actually did, not in the one in the Biodome. That was a lot of fun. I think it was 35 or 36. They've had a lot of great shows over the years. I have all the faith in the world that they're going to do the right thing. They had the same situation happen a decade ago when Dave Bautista came back and won the Rumble. And I think that's why they didn't have The Rock in the Rumble, because they knew if The Rock came in the Rumble, everybody knew The Rock was going to win. And he was going to fight Roman. And they remember how pissed off everybody was when Rey Mysterio came out as number 30. The only
time Rey Mysterio was a heel in his life.
I mean, minus the time he was in the LWO and WCW. Technically, he was a heel.
Unmasked.
Yes, and he was. We're not going to talk about that, though. But they booed the shit out of Rey Mysterio. How do you boo Rey Mysterio? I don't think I've ever booed Rey Mysterio in my entire life. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I think that's why they did it. And Cody just has to finish the story. I want to see where they go with this. I am excited for WrestleMania this year. Until Nia Jax beats Rhea Ripley next week I almost said Saudi Arabia. Oh, boy. And
Vince McMahon
Australia
is no longer in charge of the book. If he was in charge of the book, Rhea Ripley would probably lose.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. I think that's about it. The one last thing I have, Matt Camp, who was the guy who was the presenter of The Bump on WWE, has been let go by the company. He's been future endeavored by Endeavor.
I've already applied for his position.
All right.
They haven't even posted it yet. I still sent my resume.
I'm sure you know what, you have a better chance than Kevin Patrick.
Thanks a lot. I could really appreciate that. I spent 11 years at FedEx. I worked on the naval base for 2.5 years. I dash doors now. Sorry. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, he didn't really stick out for me either, so I have nothing really to say about it because I forgot he was on the bump until they released him.
Right.
So, and the only bump that I know about
people that like I just really would like to forget about.
Well, this would be good.
Both the main presidential candidates at this point
in
the United States.
I am glad that you mentioned that, Cousin Jay. Because I have a very, very special top 10 list for this week's episode. I know that I had said that I was going to come up with my top 10 campaign slogans. I had a hard time, like Dusty Rhodes.
That's what she said.
It was hard times, like Dusty Rhodes. Coming up with 10 campaign slogans. So I punted like my name was Matt Dodge for the Giants. Which means I just kicked it to Deshaun Jackson and he returned it for a touchdown. Anyway, I decided that I was going to do things a little differently. So for this week's episode, my top 10 will be the top 10 reasons why I, the brainless one, am a better candidate for the president of the United States in 2024 than both Sleepy Joe and the Angry Cheeto.
Okay.
That is Joe.
I can't wait to hear this.
That's the Angry Cheeto is the Donald, and the Dementia Joe is Sleepy Joe Biden. All right, number 10. My best argument I have is I don't have dementia.
That's a strong argument.
Granted that dementia is something that has haunted my family. I don't have it right now, so I can make it through 4 years of a presidency over whatever. Number 9, half of the country does not hate me. Because half of the country hates one guy and the other half of the country hates the other guy. I can safely tell you there's not 80 million people who hate the brainless one.
There you go.
So I got that going for me. Number 8, I will make America brainless again.
That is very important.
Which means I could just coast for the next 4 years because it's already brainless.
Yes.
Number 7, the only skeletons in my closet are from Halloween.
That is a good thing to latch onto.
Number 6, our big adversary, China. Well, you guys don't have to worry about China being a problem because the first thing I'm going to do when I'm president is blow it up. Bye-bye, China. Thanks for giving me COVID for life. Number 5, this is the ultimate selling point to all the fans of the F and Marks podcast. Number 5, my press secretary will not be a binder. He will be an F and Marks Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
The man behind the namesake of the F and Marks, Sean Odomsky, will assume the role as my press secretary. That'll be my second appointee after Cousin Jay and I win, and he's my vice president.
Now, will he be appointed before Michelle is Secretary of Treasury?
And probably at the same time. It'll be the same press conference. But I'm glad that I mentioned VP because number 4, unlike the last 6 presidents we've had, my vice president is actually competent.
Yeah.
I went all the way back. I'm talking about Dan Quayle bad. That was 6 vice presidents ago. Jay, I looked at the competition. You are definitely not only more competent than all of the other vice presidents the last 6 we've had. Combined, I think you have an IQ stronger than the 6 of them combined.
All right, I'll take that.
Granted, I mean, Dan Quayle couldn't spell potato. You spotted him the P.
And I mean, our current president, who, again, bless his soul, probably has has dementia. He was our vice president for 8 of those years.
Just promise me you won't. Ciao. Oh, it hurts my throat when I do that. God damn it, Kamala. The Ugandan giant, our vice president, Kamala Harris. I'm always going to make that joke because it's so funny because it's wrestling. Number 3, and this is probably going to be my biggest support going forward. Number 3, I'm going to legalize weed nationally. None of this, every state has to decide it. Fuck you, freaking whatever, the stupid douchebag I voted for, Youngkin. Yeah, fuck you. You ruined everything in this state. Everything that was done, and then you had to go and undo it, you fucking fuckhead. Fuck you. It's all going to be nationally regulated, legalized. Everybody's going to be able to smoke pot, and nobody's going to be in jail for it.
You ever see a $20 bill?
You ever see
weed?
You ever see the back of a $20 bill? Oh, weed. It's just shit, man. It's just like, pow. Yes, I may or may not have seen Half Baked more than 27 times. Number 2, you don't have to worry about me being corrupt because I can't even spell corrupt in the first place. Thank you, Police and Education, once again, for not letting down the Brainless one. So, Cousin Jay, that is reasons 2 through 10 of why I'd be a better candidate than both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Would you care to venture a guess of what the number one reason I would be the top candidate?
Um,
And I'll give you a hint. I'm not blowing up any other country but China. China. That's for personal reasons, though. There's no other reasons other than it's personal animosity I have towards China.
You know what, Brainless one? I don't know. I'd love to hear this.
The number one reason why I would be a better candidate than both Biden and Trump. Let's see both Biden and Trump debate me. It's going to be kind of hard for Donald Trump to debate me because he's either going to be in a jail cell or in a courtroom. And you're not going to find Joe Biden being able to debate me because he doesn't know what day it is.
He doesn't know whether it's Friday or Pluto.
He, just like me, can't spell corrupt. He doesn't know. Where's he going to end up? He's going to be a Dairy Queen getting an ice cream while I'm standing on the stage by myself.
Is it the one in Plainville?
It has to be the one in Plainville.
Okay.
Although I would never.
Right outside of Nasso's.
Yeah, I will never.
Nothing like it.
Never eat from there again. I've heard some horrible things. I will never eat from that Dairy Queen establishment again, but that's okay.
But like, as president, like, what would you do? Like, what would you do about the stuff going on in Ukraine, the stuff in Israel? What would you do about the border? What would you do to fix our country, to make it great and brainless again?
Okay, Lester.
More brainless than it's ever been.
Okay, Lester Holt. I see where you're going here. Okay. You want to know how I would handle the border? I'd shut it down. None of this, like, catch and release bullshit. First thing I would do, the first thing I would do was actually shut the border. Like, that's board, shut the door, build the wall. Whoa, don't care. Get them all out of here. There's way too many people coming into this country. We don't need it. You want to know how I'd handle Ukraine? I would stop giving them money. We need the money in this country. The gas prices went up 20 cents in my area in less than a week. 20 cents. Dog food. Since this whole thing has happened, a case of dog food for my dog went up $8 in the span of a year for a case of dog food. $8. Burger King, for a double cheeseburger at Burger King, it's $5. So let's just keep making America a third world country and just keep giving all our money to the Ukraine. Israel, that's an easy one. Israel can have all of the support they have from the Brainless one. I will give them all of the support because without Israel, we never would have gotten Theo Epstein, who has done the greatest thing that any human being has ever done for the Brainless one, and that's end an 86-year curse and shut up Yankee fans forever. Because I was never supposed to see my one, and I got my one, and that's all I ever wanted, and I got 3 more after it. Greatest thing ever. So the fact that Israel was fully responsible for people like Kevin Youkilis, Gabe Kapler, and Theo Epstein, they can have all the money they want from me for as long as they want. Let's see, what else? What other issues you want to talk about? Let's go. Come on. You want to talk about the presidential candidate here? Let's give me one more good one. Come on.
Should Taco Tuesday be a national holiday every week?
Oh, God, yes. I would make it a national holiday every single week. Taco Tuesday would be an actual thing on the calendar. You guys want to have tacos on Tuesday? We can have tacos on Tuesday. Does any of the followers have any other questions they would like to ask the future 47th president of the United States? I'm in a giving mood, and I'm willing to take at least 1 or 2 more questions before we get into the good, bad, and brainless. Anybody else have any questions for future 47th president of the United States, Brainless Francis Jr. the 5th?
Yeah.
Or as I like to refer to myself as Rob Guy. Bobby Guy, cousin Bobby, the brainless one. Bobby the Brainless, Rappin' Robbo. Whatever you know me as, whatever you want to call me as, just realize you're going to be calling me your next president. Any other questions? You want to know how I would handle the situation with California? I'd just get one of those freaking jackhammers and just get rid of California. We'd have 49 states. Done. There's that problem. What other problems do we have in this country that we need to fix?
Will you tell us what is in Area 51?
I cannot answer that question because I don't know if I'm going to be debriefed on that.
Wait. This is where you make campaign promises that you can keep forever. Effin' Rhodes Hall of Famer Gags the Clown is asking if you will tell him what's going on in Area 51.
Wait, hold on.
Do we need to have a Gags-style Navy SEAL team go into Area 51 to find this out? Do we have to have somebody like Gags the Clown circumvent our good friend Pat, who may or may not have been a sharpshooter trying to prevent people from getting into Area 51? Do we have to have them find their way into the facility to find the aliens that they have buried beneath the bunker?
It's just a crying shame that Pat's not going to be able to be my Secretary of Defense because he's not going to be old enough. Because he would be the first candidate. He would be the first cabinet member that I would appoint, and I would never have to worry about the Secretary of Defense ever.
Will you release the full Epstein list?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Everybody on that list. Nobody's protected. And the best part about getting rid of California as a state in this country, no more Nancy Pelosi. And term limits for congressmen, too. None of this bullshit where you survive 50, 60, 70 years in freaking Congress. Get the fuck out of here. Term limits.
Yeah.
Why does it look like there's people walking outside my window?
I don't know.
Why does that lady look like Hillary?
Are they already protesting you?
No, but that lady looks like Hillary Clinton and she's got a gun. Uh-oh. No hablo español. I think I'm good.
All right. So Gags the Clown saying you should make gambling legal and prostitution legal.
Oh, I'm surprised that gambling isn't legal now because it's more states are open. So yeah, I'll legalize gambling in the entire country. Fuck it. Everybody should be allowed to bet on FanDuel and DraftKings if they want to. Just like I'm going to make it another law when I become president is that if I want to bet on college football games from teams in the state, I'm going to be allowed to. If I want to bet Virginia Tech, I'm going to bet Virginia Tech. If I want to bet ODU, I want to bet ODU. If I want to bet James Madison, you know how much money I could have made this year if I was able to bet James Madison?
Right.
Ugh. Wait. And in case anybody was wondering, yes, I will not be pardoning Vince McMahon.
Good.
But I might pardon Chris Jericho.
Okay.
And Brock Lesnar. That's the top 10 list.
All right.
I think there's one last thing to do.
What's that, Brainless one?
Well, Cousin Jay, I think it's time for our good.
Our bad.
And our 47th, and our Brainless.
Yeah.
See, I changed the name on my thing and I screwed myself up. Like, I think I'm the 47th president or something. I must be the 46th president.
Yeah.
All right, Cousin Jay, what do you got for your good this week?
There were plenty of really solid things in professional wrestling this week, but I'm going to go a little bit outside the box here. Seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin grow a mullet in a Super Bowl commercial made me smile. The fact that we got the Hall of Famer who is actually teased saying never say never, I might have another match in me, and said he might be, his final match would be against possibly Pepsi Phil, as long as Pepsi Phil is willing to eat a stunner.
Please.
But I loved seeing Stone Cold in the commercial, and they were more or less promoting the four-wheelers that Stone Cold likes to drive to the ring.
Right.
But it made him grow a mullet.
I know, it was cool. It was awesome.
All right. Gags the Clown, by the way, said Nia Jax is the first lady.
I think that the wife would have a problem with that.
Yeah. Well,
Just a little
you would
bit.
have a big problem with that.
No, it would never happen. Don't make me come up with a list of 1 million people I'd rather have as the first lady over Nia Jax.
Eva Marie.
Because I could come up with 1 million people, and the only person who would not be on that list of 1 million is Amy Schumer.
Eva Marie.
No, Eva Marie would be like 999,406.
Okay.
A list of 1,000.
What do you have for your good?
Darby Allin. I don't care. I enjoyed the fact that he actually came out and said what he had to say. There's been a lot of people that have been coming out and defending everything that the Bucks and Kenny have done since all this shit happened with CM Punk over a year ago when they had the first all-out brawl, and then it got worse at All In this year. I'm glad Darby Allin came out and said it because, it needed to be said. Because everything that's been fed to Dave Meltzer that he is feeding to all these people out there to saying that there's no issues in AEW is bullshit because it's coming from the sources that super kick people with exploding sneakers and wrestle blow-up dolls.
Ugh.
So I'm actually glad that Darby Allin came out and said it, and I'm glad that those douchebags had a problem with it.
All right.
What do you got for your bad?
All right. I had it a second ago, and apparently I might have to make myself my own Brainless. I'm going with Sammy Guevara. I'm hoping it was just an accident. But when your accidents keep on happening against the same family,
Individuals. Yeah.
It feels like it's on purpose. If it's on purpose, that's effed up.
Yep.
If you keep on making mistakes, that's effed up too. Either way, Sammy Guevara, you get my bad this week.
You're going to be surprised by mine, Cousin Jay.
Yeah?
6 times. 6 weeks in a row. Next time they get it, they have the new record. The Young Bucks get my bad for this week just because they came out looking like douchebags like they did. And they're doing absolutely nothing to improve this product. And it's looking more and more abundantly clear that the douchebag EVPs are just going to throw their weight around to win the tag team titles and end Sting's career. So once again, they get my bad for this week because they also look bad in the promo that Darby Allin called. So,
yeah.
I know I could try to make it in pull strings to make it seem like I have it out for them, but sometimes they deserve it too.
Right.
What do you got for your Brainless?
There are several directions Brainless could have gone this week.
I know. I say that every morning when I stare at myself in the mirror.
That there was a thing out this week that was alleging that Booker T had fired somebody from his wrestling organization because they were being stalked. Turns out that was only partially true, and it's like I could have gone that direction. They're just, yeah. But this person specifically.
Ooh, this is good.
Has been such a piece of crap for such a long time. I hope he finally goes to where he's supposed to. He needs to go away for a long time. He needs to go away like Sonny has gone away. Teddy Hart, you were supposed to have a date in court. You don't show up. And you keep on making shitty life decisions. It seems like you keep on saying, it wasn't me, stuff just happens around me.
Okay, Shaggy.
At some point, you got to look in the mirror, dude, and be like, if all this bad shit happens around me, at some point, I gotta say, I'm the problem. He's clearly has not hit that spot yet.
Nope.
He's still trying to go out there and be some sort of wrestling superstar, but he's done so much to ruin the fact that, like, he is a skilled worker. But when all you do is go into business for yourself, groom people, take advantage of people, and leave just a trail of ruin behind you, it's time for you to go away.
Yeah.
And go away forever. I hope that this judge in Florida sends him to prison for a long time.
Right next to Sonny.
That is what he deserved. Teddy Hart, when I watched the documentary on Peacock last year about you, like, you could see the skill as a performer, but then you see the person who's a shitbag manipulator who just, again, everything behind him turns to shit. He needs to go away. He is brainless as all hell. But I hope he has his moment with his maker where he's like, I done effed up. You know me. You know me. If you have a true moment of repentance where you actually ask for forgiveness for the crap you've done, I have a lot of grace for you. But if you keep on sitting there and wrecking people's lives, more or less for the fun of it, there's a place for you. On Earth, there's a cage that you can sit in. Hopefully you sit in there for a long time and you get to think about the stupid shit you've done.
Yep.
And I hope you look in the mirror, and I hope you don't like what you see, and I hope that you turn your shit around. I really do. I really do. But until then, right now, Teddy Hart, you got my brainless.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Boy, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that up, but my brainless for this week, you're going to be surprised.
Tony Khan?
Tony Khan got my brainless. God damn it. Am I really that predictable? Am I the NFL now? Jesus Christ. Really? That's not fun.
Rigged.
They celebrated the 200th Dynamite this week. I mean, first of all, congratulations on AEW. I didn't think you guys were going to make it to 200 episodes of Dynamite. But in the graphic, he had to put, thank you, Tony Khan. Thank you, Tony Khan. Like, really? You really have that much of an opinion of yourself? Could you imagine if they did that for like the 1000th Raw and it was thank you, Vince McMahon?
I mean, they did have the thank you, Vince chant.
I mean, that's different. If the fans are going to be doing, that's one thing. But when Tony Khan is going out there to pander to himself, come on. And then this whole thing with Darby Allin, you let him go out there and cut a promo like that? How are you going to handle this one, Tony? You're going to say you're feared for your life on this one too? I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. You keep signing all these people that haven't really done shit. Aleister Black hasn't had a singles match in AEW in 600 days. Over 600 days at this point. The man doesn't know what he's doing. He only cares about himself. And it's sad.
Sad.
It really is sad. That graphic where he said thank you, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Could you have any more of a better opinion of yourself than Tony Khan has of himself? A guy who's just going out there and playing with his real life action figures and not booking anything properly? Come on. You have no control over your locker room. You have no control over your wrestling promotion. You're the laughingstock of the wrestling business. And that says a lot, to be the laughingstock of the wrestling business. Tony Khan, you and your cocaine get my brainless for this week.
Yeah.
So if you like what you've seen, whether you are a first-time watcher or a continuous fan, Make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, X, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS, FM Marks. If you like, follow, and subscribe to us, we will do the same back. That has always been our
mantra. And make sure you set up notifications so that when we go live, you will be notified that we are going live, whether it's on the YouTubes or on the Facebooks or on the X. And also subscribe to us on Spotify so that way you can take the show on the road with you, whether we're going live or you missed the live broadcast and you get to listen back.
I'm really scared now because Hillary Clinton's standing in the middle of my street staring at my window.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're the one who ends up putting out the list of Epstein, I'm pretty sure you're going to be on the people that accidentally get offed by Hillary.
She's got a piece of paper in her hands and it says, check your mail.
Oh.
I don't think I should go check my mail.
Sounds like a bad idea.
No, it sounds like a terrible idea. But anyway, I think that's it for the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely nothing left for us to go over. Nothing left to cover.
Nothing. Wait. Curtis Axel. First, before I get into this, I would like to say thank you for the fact that this moment is in your top 5 favorite wrestling moments of all time. Well, you know, Curtis Axel, as important as Cousin Jay and I are to this podcast, there is one other individual who is just as equally important to this podcast as Jay and I, and that is you. Do you know why? I certainly do, Brainless One. It's because today, which is February 16th of 2024, at an incredible 3,309 days, I, FM Marks Hall of Famer, is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble. For the record, I am surprised, shocked even, that I have not ripped the Curtis Axel picture in half accidentally doing the Curtis Axel thing.
Hey, that picture is pretty old at this point.
That picture is very, very old and very worn, and it is going to Cooperstown with Brainless Thoughts Volume 1.
Yeah.
But anyway, for episode G's and Crackers, I shut it down before I even... For episode 348, 348, that's right, we're 2 away from 350. So for 348 of everyone's favorite wrestling podcast, the Ever Marks.
I'm Jay. He is.
I am the future 47th President of the United States, Robert Brainless One Guy. Make sure you mark out
with your guac out. See everybody. Yeah.
Wait until I debate the two of them soon. You're looking at your future president and vice president. Yeah?
Yeah.
Two greatest people from the whole city of Bristol, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.